All right. So, hello. We got another Let's Talk, and this one is going to get into some serious topics. It is going to get into a little bit of political topics. And I know that's in the world of gaming and tech, there's a lot of people that don't like to hear about this stuff. They don't like to talk about this stuff. But in all honesty, we do need to because the business around gaming and tech. There is a part of it that's goes around the whole thing of politics. Our White House, our current administration, our the people that are working in the companies that are even bigger than the tech companies that are telling the tech companies, well, you have to incorporate this ruling and that ruling and such. So what's spawning all this? So recently we just seen that well, it was yesterday, actually a few days ago this was talked about. So Epic Games is laying off about 830 employees and divesting the Bandcamp, which was a company that they bought recently to basically put music stuff into Fortnite pretty much. So we'll just read this really quick. Fortnite maker Epic Games is laying off about 830 employees, or 16% of its staff, and divesting online music platform Bandcamp, the company said on Thursday. The video game company will also spin off most of Super Awesome, which Epic Games acquired in 2020. Super Awesome is a platform for developers who include kids' safety tools in their products. While Fortnite is starting to grow again, the growth is driven primarily by creator content with significant revenue sharing, and this is a lower margin business than we had when Fortnite Battle Royale took off. So in this statement right here, they're basically saying like creator skins. So when your favorite YouTuber or Twitch streamer or whoever you have has a skin in the game. Basically, when they have a outfits that has their likeness in it, similar to Nick Merckx, the Tim the Tatman stuff from Call of Duty. Every once in a while, you see it in the storefronts. You'll see like Ninja has, he's had his skin in there. There's a whole bunch of them. I don't want to list everybody's name, but that's where they're making most of their revenue from. People see their favorite influencer, they go and buy the skin pack, and they can play as their favorite influencer in the game also. And what Tim Sweeney, CEO of Epic Games, is saying is that since they launched the Battle Royale, they've seen a lower margin of business, so lower growth in business, which means that it's making money and it's making a ton of money, but it's not at the level that that Epic Games wants it to keep on building on. About 2/3 of the layoffs were outside of core development teams, and that the cuts would help the company get to the other side of profitability. So the people who are working on like Epic Game or the Unreal Engine and working at Epic Game Studios, which would be the Fortnite team and such, most of 2/3 of the layoffs were outside of those core teams. So your developers are actually not getting hit. It's pretty much the ones that are on contractual agreements to work with the company. Which, in all honesty, I mean, if you're kind of a freelance or if you are on contractual agreements, then you should keep your options open for multiple different companies. It's just kind of the way of the game. Legacy video game publishers have also been fighting for top spots with new entrants like Warner Brothers Discovery, whose Harry Potter based game Hogwarts Legacy was a major hit. I'm not a big Harry Potter fan, but yeah, there was a lot of Harry Potter fans that loved that game. I played it. I gave it a once over. I can see why they liked it. Epic has been in a legal battle with Apple since 2020 when the gaming firm alleged that Apple's practice of charging up to 30% commissions in-app payments on iPhones and other devices violate U.S. antitrust rules. Apple on Thursday asked the U.S. Supreme Court to strike down an order requiring changes to its App Store rules stemming from the antitrust case. So, yeah, like Epic is going through a bunch of courtroom dealings right now with Apple. There's a lot of tech companies going through actually courtroom cases and such. But when it comes to the tech and the gaming side of things, what's one of the big things I wanted to go into on this video was just the fact that the politics is starting to catch up with the gaming and the tech industry. It really is starting to show in the amount of companies that are doing layoffs or charging extra, and the consumers are complaining about game prices going up, or you have the publishers are kind of complaining about how much it takes just to make a game nowadays, to develop something, because you have the price of development is going up. It's the price of developing one single product or one single game is 10 times, probably even more so than that, than what it ever has been before, because you have so much tech going into it with, with the mocap suits, with the face scanning, the camera rigs, the voiceover, the contracts with the voiceover people. We just seen the whole thing about the writer strike going on and all that. So all this stuff has been, just kind of steeping into like this whole thing of, it's been building and building and building up for the last like 2 or 3 years, to the point where the gaming industry is going through a pretty rough moment. Now, where did this all start? Well, I mean, really, it kind of started where the 2020 election it came into play, and this is where we're going to have to start getting into politics of things, because in all honesty, politics has been like jumping into the middle of the tech industry and jumping into the middle of the gaming industry a lot over the last few years, to the point where it's like, if you don't agree with those politics and you think it is kind of dumb that those politics are a thing in and around the gaming space, which I know a lot, again, I know how the gaming space thinks. Majority of people don't care about politics, but this is where your lack of caring about the politics that are happening in the current age is actually coming back to bite everyone, because whether you're a consumer or you're on the development team, you're getting hit by this. So the first one up would be to go back to 2022. So the Democrats working with Joe Biden using influencers to try and get more election sway, I guess you could say, to get more voters on his side, where they were actually just putting out false information a lot of times with the TikTok influencers. But it's not even just TikTok influencers. Joe Biden was pushing out, or Joe Biden's team was pushing out stuff to try and get influence towards Biden in the election cycles that was happening back in 2020, where you had the early voting stuff, the vote by mail, the oh man, like everything from musicians and the tech industry itself, of the ones who own all the companies, they were pushing just like you had influencers with big viewer bases, saying, hey, you need to go out and you can't let Trump win, you can't let any of these Republicans win. So basically, what the tech industry has done is they put themselves into the side of, okay, we're going to side with the Democrat side of politics. We think their business is going to do well. Well, what comes with the Democrat side of politics is you start to get boycotts, you start to get stuff happening. The mess around whether to boycott Activision Blizzard. This is back in 2021 now. Employees demand better work conditions. Fans are looking for ways to show solidarity. Now, this was a whole thing of because, so there was a just lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit of stuff going on, where it was a lot of the developers are saying that it was terrible working conditions working in game development and tech offices. So yes, you have thousands of people. There's going to be some bad ones in the crowd, absolutely. There is a lot of good people that work in gaming and tech. There is the handful of people that make everybody's life a living hell. When you're working in a big giant studio environment and a big team like that, you're absolutely going to have stuff like that happening. Like, yes, there is some valid moments in the working history of these companies where yes, there needs to be some stuff being done. Also, on the consumers' parts, the fans of these development studios where they are doing death threats to developers is absolutely just ridiculous too. There's bad stuff on both sides. Whether you are working in the gaming space or you are trying to influence people to try and get the politics going in a certain direction, or you're the consumer base that is just again doing death threats and stuff, which is absolutely ridiculous. There is something to be said on that there is just like there is some bad stuff happening in every single outlet around this. And then of course also you have like just recently Dr. Disrespect quits Call of Duty, demands Activision apologize to Nick Merckx, and this whole thing was over Nick Merckx skin after negative comments about the LGBT community, which it wasn't really even. So Nick Merckx, it wasn't negative comments about it. And even this is where, again, the tech industry is Forbes. It is, Reuters. It is, it's all these, news sites and everything too that help influence the way that the industry works and the way the industry goes. The reason why they're all influencing stuff is because of the whole DEI stuff, diversity, equity, inclusion, and making sure that the workforce is a great place for everyone to come in and work in. But the problem is people are using these different rule sets. This is from 2021 that they started pushing all this stuff. And again, that's when we started seeing, all these workroom things happening of, oh, well, this person said this thing and this person did that thing. And they're using, DEI rulings to try and, what I feel they're trying to get a little bit of money out of companies by doing that stuff. If the company does not want to hire them on, then screw it. We're going to, we're going to start up some ruckus now. Again, is there some people in these companies that are doing some bad stuff? The higher ups, especially the board, the ones that are these younger folks that are just trying to use their power or sway over people at conventions and such. Sure, that's happening. Those ones should be replaced, and hopefully, keep going in the future. They will be replaced. The problem is the ones that are their bosses are also very kind of they're left leaning. They're into again, the workers, the ones that are developing stuff are usually the ones that take the brunt of all this. The ones that are in the higher up positions, they kind of get off with a hand slap. Don't do that again. But stuff like the DEI thing, where a lot of people use it to try and stir up controversy in the workroom, just so they can end up getting whatever their 60 seconds of fame and such. The other one too, the ADL also helps out with pushing all the DEI stuff. We've seen this time and time again. It's part of it now, where where the ADL and the DEI comes in majorly too is not just a workroom situations, but the content creator situations, because now these companies, they have to abide by these rules, which says if you go against whatever they deem the ADL and the DEI rulings, whatever they deem to be the new norm, if you don't follow that, then cancel that person, just blacklist them, make sure that they can't work in the industry, that's really what Nick Merckx and got caught up in, and that's what Doc and other content creators have been kind of trying to fight against. Again, is there bad workroom or is there bad workroom stuff going on at Activision Blizzard? Most likely, there is always going to be the handful of bad employees in with the thousands of good employees. That is going to happen. But I definitely feel like there's probably a little bit of because when you look at gaming, you look at the tech industry, what's one of the main things that you always see in there is the whole, like, everybody needs to be inclusive, everybody needs to be equal, and if not, then I am going to start up one hell of a shit show for everyone and make everyone's life a living hell. Those are the type of people that are working in the tech and gaming industry. And what we're end up seeing is, because of that, we start seeing stuff like, okay, so Twitch 50-50 revenue split, because also the influencers are trying to push for this Joe Biden America and Joe Biden White House and a Democrat run country and everything. We're starting to see that because of all these lawsuits, because of all this stuff that's happening with these employees and, sexual assault lawsuits and such, all these companies are losing so much revenue on all this stuff. There's a reason why Twitch, is doing like the 50-50 revenue splits. They have, sure, Twitch isn't backing down from the 50-50 revenue split on streamers. Sure, okay. Revenue cost is going up because the economy right now it's tanked. It's absolutely trash. So everything costs way more to not only make but also to maintain. That's the reason why server costs are going up. This is the reason why Twitch, they have to charge extra basically on the whole different, whether you're a consumer or you're a content creator. Now, content creators are arguing about this stuff and they're complaining about this stuff. But those major content creators that are complaining about this stuff are the same ones that who got behind and were trying to influence, the general public and the general people that, are diehard fans of theirs, sometimes in the tens of thousands of range. And if you get multiple tens of thousands of ranges, you're into 100,000 range. 100,000 votes go into one direction or the other, or maybe even, if you get enough influencers together, that could be millions of people that they are pushing, the idea out to. Okay, we gotta vote Democrat, we gotta go this way with it. And now all of a sudden we see the country in the state that it's in. So now you're seeing the 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 reward for this is major layoffs. You're getting paid less because the company has to take more of a revenue split because the economy has tanked from who these people helped tried to help get elected and tried to help sway the public opinion. There's a lot of people that don't want to talk about this stuff. There's a lot of, and the thing is, I keep hearing about it over and over and over again of like, well, I don't know why this is happening. My biggest thing is like, well, take 2 seconds to look at who you're promoting. Take 2 seconds to take accountability for what over the last 3 years that really all the major content creators have been pushing for is this economy is the ones that you can just tell. And this is one of those things too. You can just tell which content creators have managers and which ones actually do their own business, because the ones that do their own business were very against all this stuff from the get-go. The ones that have managers that do their business for them and negotiate contracts for them, managers that negotiate contracts for the content creators, those content creators are just, they have no clue business wise. They can develop stuff, they can make things. The art side of things of developing a game or making a video or doing a live stream or something like that, they're very smart in that direction. But business wise, a lot of the content creators, this is the reason why I always say, don't listen to content creators, do your own research and homework on this stuff. But a lot of the content creators, they have no business sense, and you can just tell it by them talking about how the business works. If you actually listen to people in the business side of things, and then you listen to a content creator that is not into the business, but they are, they have friends that work in the business, it's a very different conversation that goes on. And so I think that's probably one of the biggest takeaways from this is just like the whole thing of be careful who you're listening to, but also do some research yourself. Like, take what I say in this video and take the names, take the companies, and go and check out what, the reason why they're saying what they're saying, but also the business behind what they're saying. I think Dr. Disrespect, he's on to something, the biggest boycotts that could end up happening for Activision Blizzard is maybe, if they screw over, because somebody had a different opinion than them and they screw over one of their own content creators that is actually that was promoting their games, and they screw them over by taking their skin out the game so they can't make money, that should actually not sit well with you, I would hope. Again, make up your own mind on it, but that just seems a little wrong just because a difference of opinion. Well, isn't that what the DEI thing was all about? Diversity, equity, and inclusion? Well, does inclusion not mean different ways of thinking, a different thought process than somebody else? Just saying. So yeah, this is so if you're wondering some of my own thoughts on all this stuff, but also if you're just wondering like what the hell's going on with Epic Games and why is there so many layoffs happening with all these different game studios, yeah, it's really a politics thing. It's one of those things where again, it could have been avoided if it wasn't for the influencers, not, because this is one of those things where you have content creators and then you have influencers, and unfortunately all the content creators are trying to be influencers so they can also get their bank account bigger. But if you're also not an influencer and trying to influence your own crowd in the same way that all these companies, you know, like an ADL or the DEI stuff is pushing for, then companies don't want to work with you, because the companies are also being pushed by these same organizations too. So it's just it's a web of kind of craziness and nonsense that's going all around the gaming industry. And I mean, look at where the gaming industry and the tech industry is located. It is California, in the middle of the epicenter of all this stuff. So um, it's no wonder, even like the writing strike and all that, and the unionization on the gaming industry overall and everything. So that's actually one of the other points I wanted to make too, is like, if you think it's capitalism and the union, stuff that is messing up, that's the reason why gaming is starting to implode on itself, with all this stuff that's been happening over the last few years. It's not capitalism. Capitalism is what drives the gaming industry. It is, there is a capitalism essentially is just supply and demand. The gaming industry is supplying a demand that people want more entertainment, interactive entertainments. So that's where we get the gaming industry from. Content creators, same way. You don't have AdSense revenue. You don't have a business model without capitalism in driving the force of people want videos, so people are making money off from videos, so they can they can upgrade their setups and everything. That is capitalism at the end of the day. So again, if you're wondering like, well, how does the industry come back from this? We need a different White House. We need a different we need a different president in there other than Biden, that is actually going to get the economy back on its feet, that where we're going to see better profits and less just spending. Again, I know a lot of people don't like to get into the politics side of things when it comes to the tech and the gaming world. You're trying to escape from politics and everything, but politics, if we have good politics in the US government, then the gaming industry can keep doing what it's doing. Also, you're going to see it too. If you are an aspiring content creator, right now is a terrible time to get into content creation, in all honesty, because there is so much going on between censorship, between ad revenue being screwed up, because there's so many companies trying to say like, well, if somebody says this word or this thing, pronouns and all this and that and the other thing, all these different words, if you say a certain phrase or something that these companies don't like the ADL, for example, it's probably the most major company that there is. The ADL really pushes all this stuff and makes other sub companies do the same thing. Really, that's where it's going to stem from, of you having the hardest time of making content. You might even just slip up and say something that you've said for years, decades, whatever, and they're going to go after anybody. It doesn't matter who you are, what your politics are. They're going to go after you. So that's, again, it's we're in rough times right now. It's a very, very weird time to be in the content creation field, or in the gaming development field too. So hopefully, I mean, we got a whole other year of all this stuff to be going on, and all I see is it's going to probably get worse, because we're about to have, most likely, writer strikes going on, and they're going to try and unionize, which all that's going to do is drive up the costs of everything. So if a writer strike happens and certain studios shut down, there's a, it's not guaranteed, but there's a high likelihood that if anything was it's in pre-production, or if any games are just barely started development, they could get shut down. Hell, if they're in the middle of development, so we've seen games fully developed and they get shut down. What do you think's going to happen to anything? The writers don't want to work. Well, if the writers aren't working, then the artists aren't working, then the audio teams aren't working, then the level designers aren't working. A writer strike shuts down the whole studio. And you can try and make the arguments of, well, we need to unionize to make sure that contracts are, well, first of all, people need to start learning how to do business the correct way, because at the end of the day, the gaming industry is a business. If you are signing a contract, you better make damn sure that your contract is negotiated the right way and you have all the details done, and not just take the first contract. That it's just like the music industry, it's like the same type of thing. Or if you're a content creator, you don't want to sign the first contract that hits your desk. You want to make sure and sign a very good deal, and negotiate the proper way. Which when I hear a lot of the people talking about this stuff, it just seems like the contract negotiations aren't even happening. It's not even that they're not getting a good deal. It's like they're not even trying to have a deal on the table that is good for them. They're just trying to get their foot in the door. Um, Not a great way of going about it. Again, you gotta really watch out for your own self in the long run here. And what this could also, if you can't, if contract negotiations turn sour and bad and everything, maybe it's time to start making your own companies. That's a bunch of people pull together to make an indie studio. We're seeing a lot more indie studios pop up already. That's the reason why we're seeing it, because people are getting smart about contract negotiations in one aspect. But then there's a lot of other people that are like, I need to work for Activision, and they totally ignore what's been already happening to content creators and the way that Activision works. Now the other thing is too is I heard that, okay, so Epic Games makes so much money in 1 month. What the hell is going on? Why are they laying off developers? Well, that money is also going to court fees between Apple, also court fees if there's any employees that are, like, well, I don't feel included, or my pronouns weren't say, I'm going to sue you guys, because it is California. They can get away with doing certain lawsuits like that. Is there any lawsuits like that? I'm just saying, as a, overall, there might be in the future. That's where I'm going with that. But also, like I said, production costs and the cost of keeping servers up and running. When you go to download Unreal Engine to work on something, it's coming off from a server. When you play Fortnite, it's running on a server. So because Biden's economy is so bad, these servers are costing more. That's the reason why Twitch is taking more money out of people's pockets, because they have to cover the cost of everything to run everything. So again, when it comes to politics, you gotta have at least a little bit of knowledge in this stuff. Even if you are just a content creator, be careful what you're promoting, and take accountability for what you have promoted. So yeah, I think that will pretty much wrap up this one. They're talking about changes. We might have a little bit of a change coming to the Let's Talk series. I might make this into a little more of a show. I don't know. We'll see. Even I've over the last few years, even I've gone from, maybe I'll watch what I say, to, what, the companies ain't going to work with anybody other than that small net community of content creators that they always work with, because they know those content creators can be influencers and they will push whatever product we throw at them, whether they agree with politics of it or whatever else. And of course, that's the reason why you always see the same names popping up on every single ad that there is, and all these different, like, there's certain content creators that are way up here because they're promoted like crazy by the companies, because they know that the companies can tell these guys and girls what to say, what to do, what products to push. And I only use products that I believe in and agree in. Okay, yeah, they might be, but also what's going on with the contract negotiations that they are doing. They have managers that are that are pushing for that contract. So the manager is basically the middle ground that's keeping everybody on the same page. But also, again, if you have anybody who gets out of line and says something, well, I don't know if I fully agree with that, boom, they're cut like that. Oh no, cancel them. They're bad. So again, we're going to see more of that going in the future. Like this next year, especially when the election cycle starts up and everything, all these companies are going to go in hardcore with all the, you need to promote this certain thing. We already saw it back in 2020. We're going to see it again for 24. We already know it's going to happen. So watch out for the big tech, watch out for the influencers, and use your own mind, use your own brain. Do a little bit of research. 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most, you'll be able to figure out a whole lot of stuff. You'll start to see stuff, hopefully. So, anyways, like, sub, hit the bell notification. You know what to do. All the YouTube stuff. And I'll be back with more content in the very near future. Very near future. So, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by. And as always, I will see you next time.